Just give me the frosting and give me a spoon and everything's going to be okay. Or at least it'll make me feel better for a little while. Let's take a look on the bright side. Hello, my friends, and welcome to The Bright Side. I'm your host, Bob Herzog. You know, Thanksgiving is within view as we record this week's episode, and whether you're all about the turkey or all about the sides, there's a pretty high likelihood that your holiday is going to look different this year. It's not that you won't have things to be thankful for, hopefully we all do, but the stink of 2020 is still on us as we count our blessings this year. Now, speaking of that particular aroma, a company out of the UK with a rather memorable name thinks they know what the scents of 2020 actually are. Flaming Crap. That's the company. Flaming Crap is out with a candle layered with the top smells of this year. The 4 layers include hand sanitizer, banana bread, woody musk for those lockdown DIY projects, and cheap aftershave dedicated to Tiger King Joe Exotic, because if there's anything we all want our homes to smell like, it's Joe Exotic. The smells clearly don't complement each other, but the company says it's fitting since 2020 has been pretty off-kilter too. Each candle is about $20. Now, if candle smelling isn't your deal, perhaps you'll enjoy the aromatic qualities of a fine wine. I'm not sure if this is a fine wine, but I do know a winery in Pennsylvania thinks they have a dry red suitable for 2020. Now, technically, this isn't on TV, so I could say the name of the wine and not be breaking any rules, but I'm not going to anyway. I don't think my boss would like it. It's named for a certain kind of show, but this is a certain kind of show, so I'll let you figure out what's behind the blur. The wine is a blend of high-quality Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot from the state of Washington, and it's been aged in American oak barrels. A bottle also going to set you back $20. So that was a lot of 2020 talk, and that is typically not great. So let us cleanse our mental palate. If you don't have a go-to method for doing that, I highly recommend Finding Baby Primate video. Here you are in luck, because I have done that work for you. The Maryland Zoo's newest chimpanzee is just about 3 months old and recently made a new discovery. The zoo posted this video on their Twitters. So Maisie is just sort of sitting there playing, with her toys, when all of a sudden, she notices a mirror and something looking back at her. It's her own reflection. Monkey see, monkey do. I know, chimpanzees aren't monkeys. Anyway, the zoo says with every milestone Maisie reaches, it brings her closer to being introduced to a surrogate mom and to the troop. Feel better? See, I feel better. But maybe that wasn't enough for you, though. So try this. Cinnabon says it's selling its signature cream cheese frosting now by the pint. The topping is most recognizable for being drizzled on the chain's line of cinnamon rolls. Now, for the first time, you can get the Cinnabon frosting separately for $6 a pint. You can find the frosting at hundreds of stores nationwide and even have it brought to your door through food delivery apps. See, I think it's hilarious that they think I'm actually going to spread that on stuff. I'm horking it down. I'm crushing some Cinnamon Toast Crunch on top of it, and I'm scarfing it like cereal with really thick milk. Now, see, you give me that stuff, and you give me that chimpanzee baby video, and I'm just this side of nirvana. At this point, I just need something festive to listen to. Gwen Stefani and writer-producer Ryan Tedder released a song that may just be the answer to me needing that festive tune. Hear This Christmas is the song. It's this year's theme for the Hallmark Channel's Countdown to Christmas event. It's also featured on a reissue of Stefani's Yuletide album, You Make It Feel Like Christmas. Still coming up short. Still not out of the 2020 funk. Well, then go here, you filthy animal. This Airbnb in Dallas, Texas is modeled after the McAllisters' house from Home Alone. It comes equipped with all the staples, 2 beds, 1 bath. Oh, and booby traps set to capture the wet bandits. The rental property is the brainchild of Jeremy Turner. Now, Jeremy's created other 80s and 90s themed Airbnbs, but Christmas at the McAllisters is special. The property will be on Airbnb until the end of January, but you'll want to move quickly because the bookings are filling up fast. Kevin! Quick note about the wet bandits, by the way, and I don't mean to bring anyone down, but in reality, there's no way Harry and Marv survived some of that stuff. You take a paint can to the face and fall down a flight of steps, and you're not coming back from that. And don't even get me started on the bricks to the melon in the sequel. And oh yeah, in the original, when the old man's family comes back at the end, I cry. I just cry. Okay, too much. So some of you really aren't even ready for Christmas music or Christmas movies. Some of you don't celebrate Christmas. So let's get this train back on track, and I don't mean that in a Polar Express kind of way. I mean that in a cool kid with a great smile and a big dream kind of way. A young boy in Texas is racing toward his dreams of being a national BMX grand champion. As David Norris shows us, he has the drive, the support, the winning personality, and now he's getting some help with the finances.
My name is Demetrius DeMarcus Lalamy James III.
There are kids who take themselves too seriously, so caught up in chasing down dreams, they forget how to have fun. Then there's Michael. Let's just say he doesn't have that problem.
Chicken bone, skin tone, leave me alone, belt buckle, banana chuckle.
What he does have is talent. Lots of it. At only 8 years old, he's already won state and national BMX bike racing championships. And that's even more impressive when you consider he learned how to ride a bike just 3 years ago. He credits his dad, Michael Sr., for that.
You taught me how to stand up. I kept on falling.
Michael Sr. has plenty of love for his son.
Yes, sir.
But not a lot of cash.
No, sir. No, sir.
He's doing whatever he can to raise money for a trip to Oklahoma for the Grand Nationals later this month, but it's expensive.
Like $10,000.
No, it don't cost.
Michael Sr. says he'll do whatever it takes to get him there.
Because he really likes it. That's why it's important to me.
That's where this guy comes in.
My name is Charles Satterway. I'm the founder of San Antonio Rising Stars.
Rising Stars is a nonprofit designed to help kids achieve their dreams. And right now he's trying to raise money so Michael can achieve his.
You know, a lot of kids living in poverty, living in hard areas. They have a tendency to lose their vision, lose their dream.
He says when you help kids like Michael hold on to their dreams, you're helping them to become better people and maybe one day leaders in their community.
And you plant a seed in that child and you'll get to watch it bloom.
Do I put my shoes on my head? No, no, no.
Raising the money is tough, says Charles, but this kid is worth the investment.
Was that good footage?
I love it. Was that good footage? Did you guys get that? I love it. Nothing like helping a kid realize his dream. Now, this next kid you're going to meet may give off a bit of a Harry Potter vibe, but he doesn't really love what they have in common.
I like to play at school, and I like to play outside, and I like to play with my toys.
So that's Hunter Tynes, and he's just like any other 5-year-old, but he wasn't born that way. You may have noticed that the lightning bolt there in his hair, it's not a haircut choice. It's a scar from a skull surgery he had shortly after he was born. And much like Harry Potter, Hunter's dad John says his son was sensitive about the scar.
And I said, your lightning bolts are really cool. I wish that I could have that. And he goes, well, why don't you? Why don't you have them? If they're so cool, then why don't you get them? I said, okay, then I will.
And he went straight to the barber and got an identical haircut. After their story got out, support just started pouring in for Hunter. Way to go, Dad. I love that story. Nothing a father won't do for a son. Special kind of bond. But what about the bond between a student and a teacher? A former dance student gave a Florida ballet teacher a reprieve from her painful battle with Alzheimer's disease. Lenny Supal has the story.
It was 1958 when Miss Joan opened the doors to the Palm Beach Ballet Center in Lake Park.
But at the time, the Palm Beach Ballet Center was the only place to be. There was no other place to go if you wanted to have real ballet training.
Carissa Kranz was in 3rd grade when she joined the studio back in 1992, lighting up the stage each year until graduating from Dreyfus School of the Arts.
She was tough. I remember at rehearsals, chairs would fly if you didn't show up or you missed your cue. She was tough. She was not mean. She was probably the kindest soul you'd ever meet. She would stop traffic for ducks to cross the street, and she was an animal lover. And I remember we had a pet spider at the studio, Spike, in the corner because she didn't want to kill the spider.
The Palm Beach Ballet Center became synonymous with community.
I was on scholarship my whole life. She just wanted you to dance And if you wanted to be there, the doors were open, period. These were all her performances.
I remember actually seeing this in the studio.
Yeah, because this was on the way to the costume room.
Yes.
Right upstairs. We were her kids. This was during one of the shows, I think in 2007 when I came back to dance. Dance teaches you life lessons.
Is this before your bat mitzvah?
Yep, I was 12. How to be dedicated, how to problem solve, how to be persistent, how to show up, how to be a perfectionist.
That propelled Kranz to become a successful attorney, but about 10 years ago, she learned Miss Joan was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
I saw that the studio was pretty much taken from her and her home was in foreclosure. I was seeing the disease decline. I said if I could make ends meet and figure it out, she will never go back to a place like that. I spent a year changing diapers, feeding her, crushing pills, fighting the Medicaid system, getting her Meals on Wheels. It's so easy to be a victim of the system. And she was an absolute victim of the system.
It's been 8 years since Kranz became Miss Jones' full-time caretaker.
This whole thing has really made me believe in karma. I did what I felt was right for her, and somehow the universe has provided for us to be okay.
She's made strides in spreading awareness, creating the Now Movement Band to share Miss Jones' most important message.
The time is now. She's teaching present moment consciousness, how to live in the moment. You have to live in the now.
The lessons from Miss Joan may no longer be inside a dance studio, but they will certainly last a lifetime.
Her purpose is not over because she can no longer teach ballet. In many ways, she's still teaching.
Just an amazing heart. 8 years. She's been doing that 8 years. Just a special bond there. And while talking about the connection of a father to a son and a student to a teacher moves us, sometimes it takes the kindness of a stranger to get the job done. A 93-year-old man in Rhode Island lost his wedding ring while doing some yard work. His daughter alerted the neighborhood. And so this guy with a metal detector hobby answered the call. Sam Reed brings us this one.
Ryan Ledbetter of Westerly has a love for finding what's beneath.
It's one of my hobbies. I usually do relic hunting for historical stuff.
A while back, he bought what he calls the Cadillac of metal detectors. He had planned to put it away for the season until he came across a Facebook post in a community group.
I put the message out there that my poor 93-year-old father lost his wedding band. Ryan replied instantly.
Prior to this past weekend, Ryan had never met 93-year-old James Crowley.
I couldn't deal with the feeling of him being worried sick, so I said, let me get on it and get over here.
He knew Crowley could use the help, so he took a trip to his home and learned he had lost his wedding band while working in his big backyard.
I didn't realize it till later on that night. The next day I went out and I looked all over. Couldn't find it.
The pair went over the area of where it may be.
And we didn't have any luck at first, and I kind of got discouraged.
Crowley had given up hope.
A yard like this with 1 million leaves, what are the odds that I'll find it?
But Ryan didn't.
80, that's good.
I found it. He held it up.
I was just happy because I was happy to see him be happy once I found it.
The value of what he recovered is priceless.
She was my wife and my best friend.
Having been married for about 70 years, 6 years ago, Crowley lost the love of his life. That ring had never come off of his finger, and it never will again.
It's a bond between her and I. That's why it bothered me when I lost it.
We're really grateful that he found it and that he stepped up just to come out and said, I'll be there tomorrow morning, and he was here. There's a lot of good in the world.
There's a lot of good in the world. Amen. We got time for one more. One more to inspire. And I got to tell you, this one gets to me, friends. See, because sometimes you need your dad. Sometimes you need a teacher. Maybe you need a stranger. But then there are occasions where you got to have a superhero. A 7-year-old boy in Massachusetts who's fighting cancer got a call this week from a member of the Justice League, Jason Momoa, Aquaman himself. Ken McLeod was there for that special moment.
Hi, Aquaman.
Hi, beautiful boy.
For a kid who loves Aquaman, it'd be easy to dismiss this as a 7-year-old's fantasy.
I'm excited. I've been hearing about you all over from all my friends.
But that is Aquaman actor Jason Momoa on the other end, calling to check on young fan Danny Sheehan, ravaged by a 4-year battle with brain cancer that has not broken his spirit.
He could be vomiting in a puke bag and then tell a joke. He's just the best little thing.
Danny has received a bunch of tributes in his hometown, but it took this recent video of him opening a gift to bridge the gap between Marshfield and Hollywood.
Oh my gosh, my favorite one! Aquaman!
And when it went viral, Danny got on Aquaman's must-meet list.
Can I show you something?
Heck yeah.
Of course, the actor got to see the Aquaman action figure that started the ball rolling, and boy, did Danny have questions.
How have you been doing by taking care of the animals and your friends?
I've been riding on dolphins, and it's super fun. We should try that sometime.
In fact, Danny got an invite to the filming of Aquaman 2 in London next summer.
Awesome!
For a family that has shared Danny's long fight on social media with the hope of helping others, medical options may be running out, but the last several days are quite the chapter.
It's just been an unbelievable blur, and it's been magical.
Thank you, Aquaman.
You're welcome, bud.
The chat went 15 minutes, but the bonding of two superheroes will last a lot longer.
By the way, a GoFundMe for Danny's medical expenses has raised more than $115,000. I'm so glad you stuck around to see that story. I wanted to see all of them, but that's the one I really wanted you to see this week. Make sure and share this so other people get a chance to see it as well. Help them. Take a look on the bright side.